When you start producing great content, you're going to have people that are going to come out of the woodwork and they're going to leave some smart ass comments. And that could possibly derail you if you're not careful. And so today I want to share with you a few things that you and I can do to combat these smart asses who are determined to, well, leave smart ass comments, troll, you know the type I'm talking about. So here's the story. So earlier this month, my team and I released a video. And for the most part, actually for the overwhelming majority, this has been well received. I mean, check it out. This was the video that we released here, and it's all about entrepreneurship. And you can see 112,000 views. It's got thousands of likes and hundreds of shares, right? And for the most part, people are just sharing it, which is awesome. Then, as we get down here, this guy, Vincent, thanks Vince, leaves a smart ass comment. I didn't watch the full video to know this is just another I quit my day job to travel the world and blog about my experience, yada, yada, yada. This isn't being an entrepreneur, it's called being from a wealthy family. Hey Vincent, thanks for that. I appreciate your smart ass comment and I replied to him, hey, I'll show you my reply. I said, sorry you didn't watch the video, Vincent, but I'm actually not a blogger and definitely didn't come from a wealthy family. Every business I've built and sold was from the ground up, and this video is actually in support of the difficult decisions that we face as entrepreneurs. All the best. And then even Seamus came in here today and said, hey Stu, people are always trying to tear you down when they're threatened by a great video from one entrepreneur to another. Hey, thanks Seamus. That was awesome. I appreciate that. Now, here's the thing. Anytime that you're producing something, especially if it's high quality, there are going to be people that are going to try to tear you down. Like, there's no doubt about it. People will try to tear you down because they either have to raise their game to meet you, or the easier thing to do is to try to tear you down back to their level. So, Vincent, I appreciate the comment because it just reminded me of why we have to commit to a bigger why in everything that we do. And so here's another quick thing that I want to share with you, because this is going to come up time and time again, and I'm going to give you 3 things that I recommend that you and I do to combat the Vincents of the world. I remember early in my career, in fact, there's a young guy in our office, his name is Patrick, and he has his own blog as well, and we were talking about the blog, and we were talking about different strategies, and he was saying, he started to share a story with me about really how heartbroken he was because one of his email subscribers marked his email as spam. And I could see it in his face, like he was like heartbroken, and it reminded me of the time when I began building my email list. This was many, many years ago. It was over 12 plus years ago. And I remember vividly getting my first unsubscribe. And it was like heartbreaking. Like my heart just like dropped. It was like, somebody like voted that they didn't like my content and unsubscribed. And at the time I was at a conference and I came downstairs and I saw another friend of mine, Matt Basak, and he's like, dude, what's wrong? Like he could just see it on my face. And I said, man, I don't know, like somebody just unsubscribed from my email list. And he like looked at me, he's like, wait a minute, somebody unsubscribed and that's why you're upset? And I said, yeah, man, like I don't know what I did wrong. Like I thought I was producing great content, but somebody unsubscribed. And he just kind of sat back and smiled, and he's like, dude, I have hundreds of people unsubscribe every time I email. He's like, this is a good thing. This is what happens here is that you are pruning your list. You are really dialing in to the few people who will love you and appreciate you. He's like, when people unsubscribe, it's a good thing. And so it reframed it for me, and I'm forever grateful that Matt gave me that piece of advice because it reframed things for me. As long as we are clear about why we are really doing things, and we have a bigger why behind it, then we just got to stay true to what we're doing. And so for all of the Vincents in the world, you know what? It just reaffirms that we're on the right track, or at least I feel like I'm on the right track, given the response. So there's 3 things that I recommend all of us do to combat all the smart asses and trolls and all those people in the world. Number 1 is you and I, need to share more good news. I mean, there are so many great stories out there. This is one of the reasons why I love the time that we live in right now, because it gives us a platform to be able to share good news. For example, last night before I was going to bed, my friend Shaw shared this beautiful Facebook post. I'm going to show you it here. She shares this Facebook post, and she said, in the midst of so much sad news, something truly beautiful. And it's this story, it's a touching moment. A husband organized a choir to sing Bruno Mars' Just the Way You Are as an anniversary present to his wife who has MS. I watched that video. It was like the most beautiful thing I think I have ever seen. I mean, it was amazing. And so what ended up happening was it inspired me. Like, I immediately started thinking, next year is my 10-year anniversary. And so here is somebody who did something so beautiful for his wife, and it started sparking all kinds of ideas for me about possibly something that I could do for my wife, for our anniversary. And so, Shaw, thank you so much for sharing that. It reminds me of some other of my favorite videos. One of the things I like to do is I like to save great videos. And this one, called Paying for People's Groceries. Such a beautiful video of like randomly paying for people's groceries when they weren't expecting it. Another one that just caught my attention was this video of siblings erupt into happy tears over hamster surprise. Basically, this little girl here, she saved up her money, went to the pet store, and bought her older brother a hamster that he had always wanted. And not only is that amazing, but then seeing the reaction of the siblings afterwards, like embracing, and I mean, the older brother was just in tears. These are amazing stories. You and I, we can play a part in this. We can combat all of the Vincents of the world and all of the trolls and all the negative stories by sharing more good news. So when you see good news stories, share them. Okay, second thing that you and I can do is we can create good news. So that story that I shared with you about the groceries, that inspired my family to do something similar in our local community. So we went to the local grocery store. We spoke with the grocery store manager, and we said, hey, we would like to buy some people their groceries. And he was like, what? And we said, yeah, it's like, we want to do it, but we want to do it anonymously. So basically what we would do is, as a family, we would identify like who we were going to buy groceries for. We'd get in line behind them, and the cashier knew that if we were behind a certain person, that person would get free groceries. So they'd ring them all in, and then they'd say, hey, you have been selected to get the free groceries. And it was amazing. Like, it was such a good thing. And so our family dedicated ourselves to making that an annual tradition that we do. And it was hilarious because you would see different people have different kinds of reactions. So like some people were like, just emotionally just taken back by the whole thing. Other people were like looking around to like see if they were on camera. And one guy just like literally, as soon as the bag or the groceries were bagged, he like took them and ran because he was afraid that it was a big joke. But other people were super grateful. And so create great news. Use the good news that we share as sources of inspiration for things that you and I can do. And then the third thing that you and I can do is that we can make good news, like creating great news, a habit. One of the things that caught my attention last week was this post from a friend of mine, Carrie Wilkerson. She said, catching up on thank you notes today. They've already cleaned the house, started laundry, now this. They will appreciate me someday. Not today, but someday. And she was talking about her daughters here, and they have basically a routine or a habit of writing thank you notes every week. I love that. I mean, as soon as I saw that one of the things I said to my wife was like, man, this is something that we should do on a regular basis and make it a habit. So Carrie, thank you so much for sharing that, because one of the things I want to do is I want to make creating great news a habit. And I think the more you and I can do that, the more we share it, the more we can, offset all the negative news that's out there. So listen, anytime you're doing something worthwhile, people are going to try to tear you down. But I want to encourage you to combat that. We can combat that together. We can, if we as a collective group start trying to share more good news, creating great news, and creating great news, making it a habit, I think we can make a big difference in this world. So, and if not a big difference, even just a little difference, just imagine what we could do in terms of the impact that we can have. So there it is, my friends. When you're doing great stuff, you're going to get the negative Nancys, you're going to get the trolls, you're going to get the Vincents who are going to leave smart-ass comments. But I'm here to tell you, that's all that is just a sign that you're on the right track. Keep doing your thing, share good news, create great news, and make great news a habit. All right, I appreciate you. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.